Hello, I'm Christen Tacka, and for the past year, I've been honored to serve as Wicomico Teacher of the Year. The 2018 Teacher of the Year Banquet is coming up soon, on March 22nd. I'm looking forward to congratulating the new Wicomico Teacher of the Year. Who will it be? We won't know until that night, but we do know the names of the 25 semifinalists. Let's meet these outstanding teachers from each Wicomico school.
Well, I've had a lot of best days as a teacher, so it was hard to narrow down just one day. So I just sat back and thought that today was my best day as a teacher because each and every day presents a magnificently unique challenge. And today's challenge, of course, was how am I going to juggle practice and get here to Tracy Saylor on time. Prior to today, yesterday was my best day teaching. And I'm already anticipating tomorrow's going to be awesome, so tomorrow's going to be my new best day teaching. You know, I say that because each and every day presents a unique challenge. And so just like the kids, we're constantly adjusting, constantly having to change our strategy. You know, so each and every day presents a nice challenge, and I pretty much live by the motto that I tell my wrestlers all the time. Life is about challenges. Challenges make life interesting. Overcoming those challenges, that's what gives life meaning. So each and every day is a unique challenge that makes life interesting, and then overcoming those challenges, that's what gives life meaning. Today was my best day. Prior to today, yesterday was my best day, and I'm already anticipating tomorrow is going to be my new best day.
I have had many great days as a teacher. One of my best days was when I returned to the classroom after a break in Title I. I enjoyed Title I. I got to see the perspective from a whole school perspective instead of just a single classroom. I knew once I entered Title I that this was not, I just felt like I was missing the kids and the connections in the classroom. And when I had the opportunity to return to the third grade classroom, I jumped on it. And when I walked in that day, I took a deep breath because I knew that was exactly where I needed to be, and it was almost like going home.
I've been teaching for 9 years, and I've had a lot of really great days with a lot of really great kids. I think the day that stands out the most to me was probably the last day of school for seniors back in the class of 2016. I was really close with that group because I had taught them Spanish 2, 3, 4, and 5, so I'd had them for 4 straight years. I'd worked with them through Spanish Honor Society, through SGA, senior class, and a few of them had even gone on a trip with me to Italy and Spain, and I had just gotten really close to that group. So on the last day of school, they actually threw me a graduation party. It should have been the opposite, but they threw me a graduation party and brought in like sodas from Mexico, flowers, and they had all written me a letter in Spanish, which, I mean, that was the best part because by, far and away, not only did it show me they learned something with the last 4 years of teaching, but just to express how much they appreciated and cared about everything, we had been through together.
When I reflect back to thinking about what my best day as a teacher would be, I think back to the first day, standing on that gym floor and knowing that I had found my passion and that I was following the correct career path. But since then, there have been so many more best days when boys and girls finally grasp the concept that we've been working on for so long, or a parent thanks me for all I do. When I taught my own children, those were some best days. I also think about events like Jump Rope for Heart when I look out into my gym and our whole school is exercising towards a common goal and having fun at the same time. Those aha moments, those make the best days. And the days that offer challenges, well, we learn from those and we make the next day the best day.
I've had a lot of great days as a teacher, but my most recent day was probably when we had our author's tea, and this is where the students get to write an essay about someone who's made a difference in their lives, and then we invite in all the parents and whoever they wrote about, and then we make a big deal out of it. So we might have a karaoke machine where they can talk through their microphones, and they get to share who they wrote about, and the students love this because they shine. So it's really heartfelt, and half of us are crying because they're so sweet. So it's a really great event to let them shine. And then we have snacks and we have fellowship after with all the people that came. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, my best day as a teacher happened a few years ago. It's centered around a PBIS behavior incentive trip that we took with some of our students. The students that went on the trip had demonstrated positive behavior for an entire marking period, and we took them to the beach. We got to the beach, and all the kids went out to the water's edge. They were splashing around in the water. Some kids were already in the water. And I noticed in 8th grade, a boy standing there. He was just standing, staring at the water while all the other kids were playing. And I went over to him and I said, "Are you okay?" And he looked at me and he said, "I've never seen the ocean before. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should get in." And so I told him to take his shoes off, and he got in, and I stood there and watched him, and to watch his facial expressions and his eyes as he experienced the ocean for the first time, it was really memorable. And then another teacher that was on the field trip went and got him some shorts because he was wearing jeans, and by now his jeans were wet. So he got in the ocean, and it was, he was 14, and it was the first time he'd seen the ocean. And this kind of reminded me of all the important aspects of our job, not just to educate the child in the classroom with the curriculum, but to give them the opportunity to have all of these other life experiences that they might not have the opportunities at home to experience. So it's kind of been a motivator for me as a teacher.
Well, my best days as a teacher are when you see a student realize their capabilities and that really they are capable of achieving, that they turn the corner, that they are really able to do what you're asking them to do. You are pushing them and they're responding. You're trying to bring the best out in them and they're starting to see it for themselves. So those are really my best days, and they're just extremely rewarding when you think of it.
In becoming a teacher, this is my 10th year in education. There's not one defining moment per se. Every single day there's a special moment that happens with these students. I started at Westside Intermediate. I can think of one student that's no longer with us that was near and dear to my heart that I spent hours with every day, and Devontae Hickerson. And he goes with me everywhere I go, and that relationship that I had with him was something special to me. But he taught me about relationships, and I bring that here to Prince Street now, and every single day I have a moment where we're laughing and giggling together, and it's why I became a teacher, and it's why I still want to be a teacher.
Ironically, it was a Saturday, and I was at the beach. It was an unusually warm day in November when I got a phone call from one of my prior students calling to tell me that a friend and a classmate had died from suicide. For this class, I had taught them 3 out of the 4 years, so I was extremely close to not only this student, but this child as well. What I didn't realize, he had just started his freshman year of college, and he came back, and what I didn't realize even in high school was that he suffered from depression. And it was very hard, but as that evening, the students were calling and texting, and they all asked, there was a group of 3 of them, and asked, "Can we come over?" And what do you say? You say, "Of course." And so they came over to my house, and as we cried and we reminisced, because this class was pretty special in that they not only did I teach them what it was like, how to be a good student, how to be compassionate and kind and generous, but they also taught me. And this moment defined that it's not about the content, but really about being a good role model, a friend, and a mentor.
Last year I had a student who was new to our school, and it was a struggle for him, the changes in the school, new teachers, new routines, new expectations. He did have autism, and he started the year off just putting his head down a lot on the desks and not doing much work. So we worked really hard to establish a positive relationship with one another, and I was very lucky to have an instructional assistant who was amazing. So the three of us worked together as a team, and it wound up being a wonderful year for him, very successful year. By the end of the year, he was writing essays with us, with the rest of us, and doing everything else that everyone was expected to do. The very last day of school, his mother came up to me and said to me, "You were wonderful with him this year," which meant the world to me. And now when I see him in the halls, he always says, "Hello, Miss Jones." And I just saw him last week and my hands were full. Whenever I see him, I will go to give him a hug. And my hands were full, so I said, "Can I have a hug today?" And he gave me a hug because my hands were full. So that's a wonderful moment for me, and that's one of the reasons why I do what I do.
Well, I have to go all the way back to when I was in first grade. And the teacher that year asked all of us the first week of school who had a mommy that could type. And I watched my mom type all of my older sister's term papers, so of course I raised my hand. So for the next 5 years, she came into school every day with that first grade teacher, and she volunteered. She wasn't paid. So I watched her every night grade papers for the teacher, create the worksheets. In the daytime, my mother would sit and work with the children one-on-one that were having trouble reading, and that was her proudest moment. And she would come home so excited about the child that finally learned to read. They read the first line of a book or read the first chapter, and that was what was inspiring to me. So she was my first inspiration to teach.
Probably the moment that popped out when I first started thinking about this would have been, probably would not have looked too amazing to anybody else who had seen it, but I'll never forget it. I had a student from the beginning of the year who spoke no English. Very nice young man, but always had his phone and always had his headphones on. And every day we had this battle about headphones, and every day, "Please put your headphones away, please put your headphones away." And he would do it, he was very respectful, but the moment I'm thinking about is in the spring of that year, student puts his headphones on, and I've just had it with it. So I go over and I'm telling the student, "You need to put your phone away, you need to put your headphones away." And he says, "Miss, I'm doing my work. Look, I did all my work. I did what you asked." And I was about to answer, and I almost started to cry because I realized that the student was talking back to me in perfect English after just a few months. And that moment will stay with me forever because he was able to express his ideas clearly in a language that he had no knowledge of the first day of school.
Use and apply their learning to find and pursue their dreams and goals. However, I want them to understand that nothing in this world worth having is easy. It requires hard work, dedication, and perseverance. And I want them to know that I will be cheering them along every step of the way.
I hope that my students feel proud of themselves and all of the accomplishments and everything that they have achieved throughout the year by the end of the school year. Since this is my students' first year in a formal academic setting as a 3-year-old classroom, I get to give them their first educational experience in a formal setting. Throughout the school year, I have provided them many experiences which have included visits from the Salisbury firefighters, Salisbury Police Department, even a meteorologist from WMDT, where we have even had our picture on the news. So without being in my classroom in pre-K 3 at Pemberton, they may have not had these experiences.
I hope that my students are successful. I hope that they know that Ms. Morris will always support them. I hope that they know that I always have their back and I am in their corner. I only want what is best for them, and I will do my best to make sure that I am providing a quality education for them.
I hope that my students believe in themselves. Every day my goal is to build them up, encourage them, expect great things, and teach them that with perseverance they can accomplish anything that they set out to do. I hope that they think of themselves as readers, thinkers, mathematicians,
And I also hope that my students fall in love with learning. Every day I get to come to work and teach what I'm passionate about, and I hope that my enthusiasm rubs off on them and they fall in love with learning and become lifelong learners.
I hope that my students realize and recognize the value that they have, not only in education, but socially, emotionally, the value that they bring. Their differences make a difference in our communities, which makes a difference in our whole world. So I hope my children just gain the courage and the knowledge they need to go out and just make their dreams come true.
I hope that my students feel empowered to pursue their dreams. I hope that my students have the courage to persevere when situations are difficult, when things get tough, inside the classroom, outside of the classroom. And I really hope that they know that I love them and I'm in their corner to support them beyond the years that I even have them as a student.
I hope that my students, when they leave me at the end of the school year, I have opened up some doors to really their future. I try really hard throughout the school year to introduce them to lots of different jobs, opportunities, and things that are out there that relate to what we're doing as I'm teaching. And I just hope that as they leave, they're thinking about, well, I really liked when we were coding in our science class, and I would really like to do some more activities in computer science. And I really liked it when we were learning in history about archaeologists looking for the lost colony of Roanoke, and that would be really cool to check out what archaeologists do. I really just try to absorb them in lots of different occupations and things that are happening in the real world so that they can see how things that they're doing applies to what they're going to do in their future.
The other day I asked my students during our morning meeting, the question was, what do you want your teacher to know today? And I thought that it would be something along the lines of, I'm tired, or telling me what they had for breakfast this morning. But the conversation actually went a little different, and they were telling me that they wanted me to know that they know that I care about them and that they care about me, and that they appreciate all the work that I do for them. I think if we had gone a little bit further and spent a little more time on this question, I think they would share that I have high expectations for them and that I want the best for them, and that I push them to succeed and strive for their best, and that I'm fun and I like to have fun, and that I love my job.
What really influenced me to become a teacher was my experiences as a child. I was the oldest of my family, so I was always teaching my sisters, and if they weren't around, my stuffed animals or my mom or anybody that I could. So I knew from an early age that teaching was something that I just was natural at. It felt right to me. And as the years went through and I kind of had the exemplars of my teachers modeling the way, showing me how to be a teacher effectively, I realized when I went to high school, at the Child Development Center track that I was able to take a part in, I was able to really tap into that love for teaching and make it a true passion, and then that was what I ended up studying in college. So it all kind of connected. I majored in early childhood education, and I really think it's a lot of what I experienced as a child, and now as a primary teacher, I remember that in the back of my head, that this can impact young children for a lifetime.
There's two people who influenced me to be a teacher. One of them is Anna Mae Whited, and she was part of Willard's Elementary School before she passed, and she was just a very nurturing person, and I saw the way that she interacted with the kids, and I felt like I needed to do that because they responded well to her, but she also gave them love, and I want to be that for the kids when they're here. And then also my mother, she is a college president, and she's a strong female and just a great person, and kids come first to her, so kids come first to me, and she's taught me that even when in education everything else comes and you feel like you're stressed out, that the kids come first and do what's best for the kids first.
For as long as I can remember, all I've ever wanted to be was a teacher. And I think that just stems from my elementary school experience. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and I just really enjoyed everything about my elementary experience, my teachers, the projects that we did, activities. I can vividly remember specific tasks that we did and projects, and I try to bring that to my classroom, that experience, and just those fun memories, and make them with my students.
I want my students to know that they are problem solvers. I want them to know that with hard work they can do anything that they put their mind to. I want them to know that it's okay to ask questions when they don't know something or if they want to know more about it. It's very important. I want them to know that they hold their future in their own hands and that they are able to do anything they put their mind to. Most of all, I want them to know to choose kindness in all things.
I would like my students to know that I want the best for them and I expect the best from them. I would like them to know that learning is a gift that they will have for the rest of their life. I would also like them to know that if they ever need me to do anything for them, I'm here for them now and in the future.
Congratulations to these wonderful semifinalists. They represent all of the excellent educators throughout Wicomico County Public Schools. What can the new Teacher of the Year expect over the next 12 months? A wonderful trip to the White House, a remarkable retreat to Smith Island, and an awesome experience in Annapolis speaking to local and state lawmakers, just to name a few extraordinary experiences as the new Wicomico Teacher of the Year. I've enjoyed hosting this Wicomico Public Schools Showcase on the Teacher of the Year semifinalists. The showcase will be back soon to shine a spotlight on the new 2018-2019 Wicomico Teacher of the Year. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting great education in Wicomico County.